In today's video, we're going to talk about a piece of gear I think every single person should have with them in every vehicle they own. I'm talking about, yep, good old-fashioned paper street map or road atlas. And we're going to talk about specifically three things about these maps. First of all, why I think you should have one with you, no matter what kind of other high-tech stuff you've got. And I'll give you a personal experience recently from my trip to Oregon and back that kind of made that clear to me. Two, we'll talk about briefly how to use a standard road map and some things to look for. And three, if you go on the internet looking for road maps, you'll see several different brands and publishers, and they've all got their different features, and it's kind of hard to tell online. So I went out and bought every brand I could find on the old internet there, and we're going to give you a quick look at them, so maybe that'll help you make a decision, so you're not guessing what you'd be getting, so to speak. So anyway, that's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for trustworthy information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me. So, as I said, we're going to talk about road maps and atlases today. I know that's not necessarily the most engaging topic, but I do think it's important. So, and we're going to three things. I'm going to tell you why I think you need one, kind of briefly what to look for in them, and how to use one, and some features you need to make sure they have. And three, just to go over some of the different brands we've got. We got a couple of Rand McNally road atlases, which I think is probably that's the one you're probably most familiar with. And then I went out and found this one is a Borsche. This is one of the brands that you'll find if you go to Amazon or somebody. Now, I've never heard of these before, so I bought one so I could show you. Maybe you like it better. I don't know. I got a National Geographic street map and a Michelin street. We're going to talk about all those in just a minute. So, but first of all, let me just talk real quickly about what I hear so many people say now is, I don't need a street map because I've got Google Maps. Well, that's great until you don't have a signal. Two things happened to me. First of all, we were in, I was following James Yeager to Utah, to the Thunder Ranch and Clinton Heidi Smith's place to do some training there. And he got ahead of me at a red light or something, and I missed him. And I'm trying to find the Google Maps, and it didn't have a signal. And we went up 15 minutes out of the way because I missed a turn because Google Maps did not have a signal. Now, this thing never loses signal, right? The battery never goes dead in this. The point being, there's places where if you don't have a cell signal, you don't have Google Maps. Maybe you could have a separate GPS, standalone GPS that would hit the satellites, and that usually works. But sometimes even Overcast or whatever, it still doesn't work very well. So my point being, this thing here never ever has a signal problem. So there's that. That's why I think everybody should have one. And it's also, sometimes if you're parked, you got to plan a route out. It's easier to look at a piece of paper like this and say, I'm going from here to here. I know when I was trying to plan my hotels on the way back, it was easier to do it on here. I could just say, okay, here's about how far I want to go, and here's where it's at, and I can look at it and have it on a piece of paper instead of trying to flip back and forth between screens and look for hotels. I got my computer open in the room looking for hotels, but I'm having to flip back and forth. It's just a pain in the butt, where the map would make it a lot easier. So there's that. Second, couple things you need to look at for any map, and I'm going to take you down to the old tabletop here and show you that real quick. And while we're doing that, we'll take care of 2 and 3 at the same time, because we'll also show you the different examples of these maps and wrap this sucker up. Okay, got a lot of maps here, so let's briefly, we'll try not to make this a 30-minute video. So first of all, this is the standard road atlas that you might be used to, and it's a big one. It's a full-size one. It's also available in a mid-size and even a smaller one. Obviously, the full size, and we'll just open this sucker up and go to a single page. This has got a whole bunch of stuff in it that you don't need a whole lot of details about different parks and different things like that. So this maybe is a national park guide, but for the straight up map, we're just going to go to Georgia, where I live. Okay, so first of all, I just want to show you the difference between the amount of detail that you get on the full size and on the mid size. You can see here's Georgia. Takes up almost 2 pages on the full size. And then it has some details of Columbus, Macon, Savannah, Brunswick, and Augusta, Albany. And then it has another page, a full page, with a detail map of Atlanta up here. So pretty good size. The detail map of Atlanta is almost the same size as the whole map of Georgia on the mid-size one. And you can see there, it's going to show a lot more of the little secondary roads in here. And then The midsize one does not have a detail of Atlanta at all. It's going to be good for interstates and maybe even state highways, but not nearly as many secondary roads. So that's important. Another thing, all maps are going to have, these are two things I really want to show you. It's going to have a north-south scale. That's good. It's always good to have a compass. You know, we're not going to go over maps and compasses because we've done that already, but just to know your basic directions when you're traveling. And then it also has a scale that tells you this distance here, for instance, is 1 inch equals approximately 22 miles. So that helps you figure distance. And a good thing to know is that with the U.S. interstate system, the odd numbers are north-south primarily, and the even numbers are primarily east to west. So this is Interstate 75, it goes north-south, and this is Interstate 20, and it goes east to west. So if the ones that go kind of crooked, like I guess diagonally, 85 is kind of diagonally, but it's more north to south. It's not, you know, so whatever. Here, for example, is a 16, which is east to west, goes to Savannah. So there's that. Main thing I want to show you on these is the difference in size. Make sure they have a compass scale on it, compass rose, and a scale. And those are pretty good. Obviously, this has more detail, and it can be a lot thinner without all the national park stuff in it. But there's those. Those are atlases. They're going to pretty much contain a book-sized map of every state. If you want more detail, you're going to need to get a fold-out map. Now here's one for the entire state, and this is the Borscht. So it's 1 in 4 million. So that's the scale. 1 inch equals 4 million inches, I think. So we're going to open this up. First of all, this one is kind of a shiny, water-resistant paper. So that's going to be good if you're in the rain or whatever. And then it opens up to here. You can see this goes to, this is Texas here. You got to flip it over to get the East Coast, basically. So, and that's this way. So pretty much the Mississippi River is somewhere about here. So this is the East Coast, and there's mostly the interstates. It's all shiny. It has a scale here to tell you where to find which cities if you're looking for a certain city. And the way that works, just so we're clear on that, is you've got letters up the side here. You got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I down here, and you got numbers across the bottom. And if it's something is it like G19, and you go take the G and you go across, and you take the 19, and you go up, and it meets. So that's how you find something with this. Again, this one has a the scale is here, right there, and the north-south are these lines. So these are your north-south, your lines. It doesn't really have a compass rose on it. And then this also has the Alaska and Hawaii. So that's the Borscht. If you're looking for a Borscht, just a full U.S. interstate map, it's going to have the interstate and some of the secondary roads. And it's a pretty good map. It's cost $10, okay, on the old Amazon. So there's that one. Here's another one that it is a Michelin, and it is a Michelin USA map. So the same thing as the Borscht is going to be a full size. I mean, it's going to be the full country. And this one is paper. It's got this harder cover on it. It unfolds like so, and it is actually east to west the entire thing. So it comes from all the way over here. Here is Seattle, Washington. Here is San Francisco, Oregon. Here is Lakeview, Oregon. Right here, this is where I was at Thunder Ranch. Anyway, this thing actually, does it fold down again? Oh yeah, oh this sucker right here. This is one sheet. I can't even put it on camera. So I'll have to stand back up and show you, but this thing is like, it's big, okay? It's bam, 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 bam. Let's see. It's got, just scroll across here for you. This is the entire U.S. in one big hunk of paper. So that could present some handling problems, but you got to learn to fold that thing the way you want it. I got it to fold back up, but it's pretty stinking big. And I'm trying to see, this is $8.95, and I don't see where the dimensions are on it, but this thing is like 4 foot, almost 5 foot by 3 foot. It's big. Finally, the other brand that I wasn't familiar with was the National Geographic. I've seen National Geographic stuff before. I had not seen their street maps. This is a Georgia map only. So we'll take a look at it and see what it shows like. So on one side, we've got a detail of Atlanta, pretty good detail, and a detail even downtown Atlanta, even more detail there. got some stuff on back. It's interesting, you know, interesting and whatever. And then got the state here and some details of some of the smaller cities, smaller, bigger cities, if that makes sense. And then the interstate shown. Pretty good bit of secondary roads. The paper's kind of shiny paper, so it's probably going to be a little better to deal with. Then we got a scale across the bottom. Here's the scale, and here's the compass roads we were talking about. So pretty good there. And it's got a detail up here that tells you kind of which one, what the roads mean. So and it's pretty small. It's handy if you're just looking for interstates and main roads. This could be a good one. And this one was $7.95. And then finally, and we'll wrap this sucker up, these are street maps for city maps. So if you really need some detail about a city, this is a good one to have, because if you saw all these, the city, even the biggest detail of the city was no bigger than this, right? So there's only so many streets that you can put in there. This is Atlanta regional map, and this is Atlanta street map. I just want to show you the difference in that. So if you're looking for suburbs and outlying cities, then this would be one, because this is you can see the detail. This is the city of Atlanta right here. This is 285, which is the perimeter highway that goes around Atlanta. So I live. Where do I live? I live somewhere in this area right here. So that's where I live. Now, so if I wanted to figure out how to get home, maybe I've got this one I keep in my truck in case I got stranded and had to find some roads, you know, for snowstorm or something like that. Because, you know, we do get, like every few years we get a couple inches of snow here in Georgia, and it shuts the city slap down. So, you know, you got to be prepared for that. So, but you saw how that made the suburbs. Well, this is just a city map. I'll just show you that, and then we'll wrap this sucker up, because I don't want to belabor the point. But it's got streets back here. So if you needed a street, find somebody's address or whatever, you can look it up, and you've got the coordinates here. And you can go down, just like we talked about. You can go on the side, and you can cross-reference them. You got numbers down this side and letters up this side. Numbers down this side, letters up this side. But you can see the difference. This is so big. And this perimeter here, which goes all the way around, you can't, it's the entire paper, you can barely see it. Here it is down here. Here it is down here. That is 285. That's the perimeter that we talked about that on the other map was this big. So that's how much extra detail this one has. But on this one, I would live way over here somewhere. So that's that. That's pretty much all I want to show you. I'm not going to beat this up, but I do have one more thing to talk about with these maps, and we'll wrap this sucker up. So, to kind of give you my couple of tips that I've learned over the years. Okay, let me just kind of tell you a couple little takeaways from this that I think are important. So first of all, I think if you're going on a cross-country trip, you should go ahead and get the big one, right? Get a big atlas and have it. That way you've got every state you might encounter. So in my opinion, that's a good investment. This one is $25. So you might can find one that doesn't have the National Park Guide in it for less money. It's going to take up a little less room, but that could be handy if you're going traveling and looking at national parks. But I would also recommend having some sort of full-size interstate map too, because this is going to give you maybe a little more detail than that. At least it's going to help you plan a longer route, because that's flipping through a lot of pages. So if you're going on a long trip, like I drove to Oregon and back, having a full map, it makes it just easier to kind of plan out your trip and see where you want to stay and maybe see some alternate routes. Because, for example, I came back a different way than I went because I wanted to drive south a little bit and meet my friend John Abbott. So there's that. And then finally, if you really want to get serious about it and you're going on a cross-country trip, it wouldn't hurt to have a full-size state map of every state you're going in, because that's going to give you the most detail. Bottom line, this is cheap insurance, and just in case your Google map or your GPS or whatever goes down. And also, in my opinion, sometimes they're just way more convenient than a GPS or whatever, especially for planning. Sure, there's nothing more convenient than looking at the little blue lines, but sometimes Google will take you a really jacked up way also. So there's that. So at least you can kind of look ahead and plan. So that's it. That's all I got. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think that a lot of people look down their noses and don't think about this. And I'm telling you, this is old school, solid, good planning that everybody should have in their vehicles. Anyway, I'll shut up. I hope this video has been helpful. I really appreciate you watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.